for you?
Well, you know, the thing is that was a need that we wanted to address, and it seemed like as we addressed it, you know, there were more and more guys that wanted to be part of this university. You know, it was based on wanting to be part of our organization. You know, and it was hard to turn away kids that are high-caliber kids, you know, that brought something to the table. You know, you've got kids that are speed rushers, you know, that are going to grow and get heavier and get stronger as they get through our program. You got guys that have the power and the speed, okay, that are guys that somewhat we play against already. You know, Lonnie Gosha is a youngster that Coach had mentioned he can turn speed into power. You know, he reminds me a lot like of Will Smith. I know that's high praise, okay, but that's what that kid's built like. You know, and the more I watch him, the more, you know, and I was with Will a year in New Orleans, he reminds me a lot like him. You know, Arcadi has tremendous ability, and I mean, his future's bright. All these kids bring something to the table that you couldn't pass on. You know, you just couldn't say no. You know, so, and be able to have that many and still address the rest of our needs, you know, that was impressive.
I bet you Coach Caldwell will have find room for 5 defensive players.
Yeah, I think we will as a defensive staff. You know, I mean, the thing is every one of those kids are going to add something to our football team. You know, and you know, I think as our veterans that are there, I mean, we can't forget about those kids that are there because they were there at one time and they're young kids too. But, you know, to be able to bring those kids in and have them work with the kids that we have there, you know, I mean, you're going to have great competitiveness there.
It's hard to find defensive linemen, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. More so outside than probably inside. You know, I think the outside part of it, because the thing is you got to be able to turn a corner, you got to be able to change direction, you got a lot more things to deal with. You know, the speed factor, the whole 9 yards. I think inside kids are basically who can read and react and are powerful inside. You know, and we got some really good inside players. You know, I mean. That was another area that we didn't necessarily need to, as a priority, address our priority, but it was a need that, again, you know, we couldn't turn kids away. I mean, they were just too quality of a player. To be able to address your 2 fronts like we did this year, that's very unusual.
Coach, linebackers, looks like some of these guys might be able to come in and play next year. What do you think about it?
Well, I think the one thing about it is the advantage to the Gilbert kid, even though he's a freshman, he comes from a prep school. You know, he's a qualifier, you know, out of high school, from a very good high school. You know, and his dad had the foresight to sit down there and say, well, he had options, but these aren't really what we're shooting for, and so he sent him to a prep school. You know, and all of a sudden he has the experience of being that linebacker position, and for playing it for the first time in his life, he did a very, very nice job. But he's here this spring, and that's going to be to his advantage. You know, Alonzo Highsmith Jr., I mean, here's a kid that was very natural at the position, has great family bloodlines, you know, and you know, to get him here and hopefully get him here early in our first summer sessions is going to be the key for him, because he picks things up, he reacts real well. You know, Brock Heyman is another guy that we're very excited about because he's such an athlete, you know, and he continues to get bigger as he gets healthier. So he's back into lifting, and his conditioning is starting to come along as well. I mean, those are quality football players that we feel that not only bring speed but also bring size. I mean, that youngster that we got in, you know, Tyler Gilbert, I mean, this is a 6'4", 245, 248-pound man right now. That's, you know, he's just going to have to learn the ropes. But we got leadership within this group, so they're not coming in a mirror.
What about the excitement of the secondary guys?
Yeah, no, I mean, the secondary kids, you got to excuse me, I got an itch right here. But those secondary kids are both quality corners as far as the corners go. You know, Tevin Mitchell and Calvin Fisher, I was mentioning earlier, is the fact that they're natural at the position. You have kids that play corner, and the reason they might play corner is they have speed, or they can't catch a ball as wide out, so that's where they put those kids. These kids are very natural. You know, they have great cover skills, very, very smart. The game comes very easy to them, and they're contact seekers. They don't mind getting dirty. You know, they don't mind mixing it up a little bit. You know, and they have speed, which, you know, we try to improve our height over there at that position as well, you know, which we feel like we did. You know, Calvin Fisher's of good size, and then Tevin Mitchell has great size for a quarterback, height-wise. And those are, I mean, that's what we've got to do to continue to compete in the SEC because of the length of the receivers. The safety guys, I mean, shit, you can't go wrong in having those safeties with Jashad Sims and Brett Ware. I mean, those are two big, physical, good-looking kids, 6'4", 6'5", 210 pounds plus that can all run. You know, and they have the background, even though that might not have been where Jashad wanted to play, but to play him at corner like they did this year, you know, to be able to now have him inside and match up on receivers, he's not going to have any angst when he has to go and do that. He's going to have to understand the speed adjustment, but he'll never have angst. And then Rohan Gaines is a youngster that you kind of like to think that he's going to be that hybrid kid that might be able to, you might be able to groom and, you know, play behind Jericho, you know, as the years go along and take his spot.
Coach, go back to the defensive line with Lonnie Gosha.
Yeah.
That was a recruiting battle all the way to the end.
Yeah.
What clinched it for you guys? How'd you get him?
Well, you know, the youngster's got great family background. You know, he's been raised by his grandparents. His mom is involved. But I think there was a lot of involvement on our staff. Coach Stankovich did a great job in recruiting him. You know, Coach Caldwell did a nice job of helping Coach Sink, and then being able to go down there myself and visit with the grandparents and the youngster, you know, and getting a rapport with that kid. And I mean, I think it was a team effort to get this youngster. Now, I think the biggest selling point was that he was here for one of our games. He saw the atmosphere, okay? He saw what Arkansas football was all about, and then he saw what Fayetteville was like, and he was more accustomed to himself being in surroundings like this. There's fits for kids. Okay, is this a fit for a youngster who grew up basically in the same kind of atmosphere, or does a kid take a chance and go down to a big city atmosphere where he kind of doesn't fit in, you know? And so it was the city of Arkansas, it was a university, and it was a team effort.
Coach Alonzo Highsmith, the junior coming here, I know it was a big choice for him, Defensive Player of the Year in that league he was from. Could you tell us about him, and do you expect him to come out on the field this year and make an impact?
Well, I mean, again, our system's not easy, as you all know, but I think the thing he's been blessed with is he's been blessed with speed. You know, he's got great bloodline, so it's not like football's foreign to him. So if he's going to have to overcome anything, it's going to have to be the verbiage of it. You know, from his background in the junior college part of it, the things they did and the things we do are very similar, but it's going to be the verbiage and how well he fits in and understanding how fast he picks it up. So you definitely don't bring a JC kid in and sit down there and waste a kid's year if he can't get on the field. You know, but I mean, we've had success with the JC football players. We feel like this kid can accelerate. But this is a youngster that has great speed, has great awareness, and can read and react to the ball.
I got a chance to see him play. I was Defensive Player of the Year in that phenomenal league that he plays in.
Yeah.
You got to be real happy.
No, we are, you know, and he has, again, the bloodlines is very important. You know, this is a kid that comes from great bloodlines.